guys, welcome back to the StayWeighedIn YouTube channel. I'm joined by my co-host Sugar Ray. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all good, man. Another week, so let's get in.
And as you can see, we've got two special guests with us today. Starting off with, I'm going to talk to a friend of the show from slicksportconsultancy. Sonia, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Really good to be back. Thank you for having me again.
And this face needs no introduction. However, we might as well do it. She's fighting on September 3rd at home fight for unification bout. It's a WBO super welterweight champion, Natasha Jonas. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. I appreciate you for coming on as well. I know you're in a busy period now, like we just mentioned. You have got your fight coming up on September 3rd. So I want to go straight into that. You're fighting at home. I believe it's the first time in 3 years you're doing that as well. Coming in as a champion as well. Talk to me about how excited you are about this particular fight and fighting in front of your home crowd.
I think we were just discussing off camera about there's no place like the North and there's no place like home. And Liverpool is just home. The Echo is home. And you can fight wherever you want in the world. And there is some great places. I fought in York Hall. I fought in the MEN and the Amir Khan undercard, which was brilliant to win the title. But there's just no place like home, and to do that in front of the fans on Derby Day as well, it'll just be, I think it'll be a special night.
I love how she put in Derby Day. See, do you know who her sister? Do you know who her sister just signed for? Sorry, just saying. Hashtag just saying.
But yeah, I was just gonna say. So going into this particular fight, then, is there like a different level of pressure that you feel, or is it just the same for every particular fight?
I think you always put pressure on yourself. You always want to perform well, whether that's your home fans or not. I think there's an expectation now that you are champion, to perform well. But to be honest, for me, I'm just going to approach it like I have every other fight before that, and not get too caught up in it, and just enjoy the moment. And so many times that happens where you just don't enjoy the moment, and because you're so focused on the result. But it's the first time boxing in front of my home fans, like you say, for 3 years. So, yeah, I'm just going to take it all in, like I did with the Khan, and enjoy the night.
Yeah. Do you have anything to put on?
I was going to say, obviously, I know training camp can be very draining at times because it's more about repetition and getting your body and your mind in the right place. So what do you do sometimes to break away from the monotony of training, or how do you refresh training camp sometimes just to keep yourself motivated and disciplined to keep on going through?
There's always another book or another program or another series that I never used to be, but since lockdown, I would say I'm an avid reader, where I can get through 2 or 3 books in a camp, and they're all like psychology ones. Because I'm so interested in how what makes me work and what gets the best out of me. So, whether that's motivational, whether that's someone else's bio, or whether it's just like I say, some form of like psychology. And I've read the Chimp Paradox, I've read Tim Grover's Relentless, there's so many books that I've read, and you'll take something out of every book, and some things you'll try and they won't work, but some things you'll try and you think, oh yeah, that works, and you take that into the next camp, as well as always trying to add. I think the most biggest and most powerful tool that we've got is our mind and our mindset. So you've got to keep adding to it and using it valuably and positively to get the best out of you as an athlete. So
would you mentioned Chimp Paradox, is there any other books you would say has been your favorite through going through training camp?
Relentless with that Tim Grover was good. There was one now that you put me on the spot,
I know the feeling. You're gonna keep I'm thinking,
Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Then there's it's literally written in like the 16th century, Paulo Aguelo or something. I'm trying to think of what the book's called. The Alchemist.
I actually have his. Can I just interrupt here? Sorry. And I'd never ever dreamed to interrupt Natasha Jonas, but I actually have the quote from The Alchemist on my back as a tattoo, which is the one. If you, oh God, what is it? If you really want and truly want something, if you truly want if you truly want, oh God, bloody hell, my mind's gone blank. If you truly want something, the whole universe will conspire helping you to achieve it.
There we go.
And I do think
that book was life-changing for me. So I can't believe she even mentioned it. Not because I don't think she's intellectual enough to mention it, but like I always felt like I was the only one that ever knew that book. So yeah.
No, I got someone introduced me. I think in lockdown, I really focused on making myself better, and I thought the best way to do that was my mind, and not just, you know, it's not just mentally and physically, it's spiritually as well. So I think I'm a lot more spiritual now than I ever was before, and I do read, you know, them types of books. The Secret, I read in The Secret, literally, people don't believe me, but they can ask Lisa Whiteside. The Secret literally made me qualify for London 2012. So you know, that's the power of the mind, the power of books, and you know, the power of, you know, putting yourself positively in a space, and to embrace it and to just go with it and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen is it doesn't work, and you know, you go on to the next book, or you go on to the next chapter and try the next exercise. But you know, if it does, then it's life changing, isn't it? So
nice.
I was going to say, you talked about London 2012, and that is something I want to talk about as we get on with this little interview. But early life in boxing and stuff, when you were growing up, what got you, I guess, into boxing, and what were your early role models in boxing? Were there people that you could look up to say, that's somebody I want to inspire to, or was it a case of creating your own pathway?
To be honest, like boxing was a thing that's something me and my dad did. We both sat down and watched it together. You know, Tyson Holyfield was my kind of early, Mayweather was my kind of start to boxing. But I never ever wanted to be a boxer. There was just me and my dad did everything together. We went the match together. He had season ticket, and sport was kind of mine and my dad's thing. So, I always was interested in footy, and I was on a scholarship in America playing football, and I had no intentions of ever being a boxer. I got injured. I came home from America, and I'd put on a lot of weight. I'd lost a big friendship group, and I decided that I wanted to get myself fit after being sacked from my like 7th job that year. And I realised that sport was kind of my drive and motivation to do anything. So like I was like, okay, I've hit rock bottom here, and I need to get back into something. And I started just going to my uncle's karate gym, and there was a lady over the road called Sylvia Singleton, and she became my first ever coach at the Rotunda ABC. She'd started the women's only night and was like, come along, you'll really enjoy it. And every week I'd be like, yeah, I'll come next week, and didn't go. And eventually it got that embarrassing that I just thought, right, I'm going to go just to shut this woman up, so that the next time she says to me, what did you think? I'll just say I didn't like it, I'm not going back. And that was 18 years ago now, and I haven't looked back since. So, but as for role models, I remember watching the decision for Jane Couch, when she took the boxing board of control to court. And I was a footballer at the time, and I just remember that she won the case, and I thought, you know what, good on you, girl. And I never realised all them years later how much that decision would affect my life. And so obviously I know Jane Couch, Christy Martin, Kathy Brown, Lucy Riker, and Anne Wolfe. They was the only females I knew out of the whole time. So like they'd pop up on Tyson cards, or Jane was like a bit of a celebrity in the north, so she'd pop up on our Granada, when she'd won her titles and when she was competing. But apart from that, there was no other standout female that I really knew of.
Okay. I want to then go from obviously your entry into boxing and then 2012, the Olympics itself. Talk to me about that, being part of Team GB and what that meant for you, one, and then also when you saw the support from not just London, but from the entire UK, like what did that mean to you? And were you kind of surprised with how much people gravitated towards yourselves and also Team GB in terms of boxing in general?
Sorry, before Natasha speaks here, can I just get a couple of comments straight here? First woman to qualify. I'll let Natasha just complete the dialogue here. Thank you.
Yeah,
thanks in advance.
Yeah, I think there was always, like, every time I thought in boxing that I'd reached the level that the highest that I can go, there'd be always another something else to keep you there. So I thought when I started, you know, having a rotunda shirt was the best on a club show I was going to get. And then after a couple, they were like, right, we can put you in the championships. And I went and won the championships, and they were like, England were like, well, now you're the champion of England. You got to start coming to competitions with us. So then I started going to competitions with England. And after a couple of years there, they were like, okay, now there's whispers of it becoming a Olympic sport. So that kept me there. And then, you know, you don't just get on the team. You had to go through assessments and be selected. There was only 9 funded places, and I got through after all the assessments for like 6 months as one of the 9. Then I'm competing when you think the hard work's done, I'm competing against Amanda Coulson, Ruth Raper, Chantal Cameron, all to be the one person selected to go to the qualifiers. You know, it's not like many other sports. We don't get a time. We don't have to reach, you know, a certain distance and whatever, or, you know, you have to qualify, and you have to qualify against the best in the world. We had one opportunity to do that after competing with Miho, even to be that person selected. When I finally got the nod in the May of 2012 to go, you know, you're going to the first ever tournament for females in the Olympics. So there's more countries than ever before. There's more opponents than ever before because of that. And there was only 3 Olympic weights and 1 shot to qualify. So, you know, it was the busiest world championships ever, I think, recorded. And we had to box, like, I think 4 times in 5 days. And I still hadn't qualified. I was broken. I was literally a broken woman. And yeah, when I actually qualified, when we came home, obviously, like, I told my mum when I was 4, watching the 88 games in Seoul, I said, Mum, I'm going to be there talking about the Olympics. And my mum was like, yeah, okay, look, yeah, I like you would have for. And I'm saying, no, Mum, you're not listening. I'm going to be there. So when I actually qualified, I became the first person in the team to do that. That when I went home and like celebrated with my mum, like, that was a big moment, and my mum was crying her eyes out, and I just couldn't. I'd been emotional, but I couldn't understand why she was so tearful. I was like, Mum, what's up? And she was like, you know, you've done 105 different sports. You know, thought you'd be successful at football. You had your injury, you come back. You've never cared about what your mates did, because none of my mates play football or do boxing. You've always stayed true to yourself, believed in yourself, worked hard, try your best, never give up. And look, you know, 24 years later, you've made that dream come true. So that was a special moment with me and my mum. I think that was the most proudest I've ever felt. But then we got home, and it was only us and Russia that qualified their whole team outright. So now no one really, there wasn't like a big media thing for female boxing at that time. And nobody knew who we were. Me, Nikki, and Savannah were. So all of a sudden, from the May to the August when it started, they needed to find out. So literally every week we were doing an interview at GB, like with Sky, with the BBC, with ITV, with everyone, trying to find out who we were, and because nobody knew. And like, that was the first time really that I'd go into town, or I'd go somewhere and people would be like, is that girl? Yeah. And then once one would get the guts to ask, and I'd be like, oh yeah, they'd be like, oh, can we have a picture? And I remember saying yeah to one person, and next minute I'm standing in the middle of town, and there's a queue, literally a queue, like the queuing up to go into the to all get pictures. And I was like, oh, I was dead embarrassed, but I was like, I was proud, but I was dead embarrassed. And my brother was just like, oh shame, I'm not coming to town with you ever again. But like, I was like that was the real first time that I'd always known that I've done well, and, you know, done big things, and I'd got a world bronze medal and a European and a EU gold. But that was the first time that I ever felt like, oh my God, this was something big.
Nice. No, that's a very good story, because I think sometimes in life it's like you're just going through the phases of life, and then you look back sometimes and it hits you and then you look back and you have very fond memories, thinking, oh wow, I remember this feeling, and that whole feeling comes back to you because I could see in your faces, it was like you was reliving.
Same as me, I could see it as well. I've interviewed Natasha myself, but I could see, same.
And you know what? I remember messaging like the likes of Fraser and that when they went to Tokyo, and I was like, because when you're an athlete, you are so focused on the result that you don't enjoy the moment. Like you forget to enjoy the moment. And like someone said to me, take like a video diary of the days that you're there and you're up to your qualification. And I found the video not long ago, and I remember them feelings, and it was probably one of the best things that they told me to do. But I was saying to Fraser, like, enjoy it, because at the time I didn't, and now looking back, I am dead proud of them memories. But it's only now that I look back that I think that was brilliant. Like, what a moment that was. And me and Tom Stalker always talk about things, and like, oh, it was 10 years ago. But when we talk about it, we get all giddy, like it was just yesterday, because that's how it feels. But it's a shame that at that moment in time, you didn't feel like that, because you're like, I just want to win, I just want to get a medal, I just want to do, you've got your own hopes and your own dreams of what you want to achieve. So it is, and it's easy for people to say, go out and enjoy yourself, but
you're nervous.
It is a big moment, and you should like be present at that. Like, sometimes I felt like I was worrying about who's coming, or worrying about what I'm going to do, that I wasn't feeling the very then and the present and being in the now.
Would you say now then that you take more time to just take things in, or just record it, or do you have like a video team around you just to say, take certain bits, whether it's the weigh-in or whether it's the week of the fight? Do you do more stuff to, I guess, document these times that obviously you had your world title fight that you won in your previous fight, you've got a unification fight coming up? Do you have people, or do you yourself look to document it more?
Yeah, I will be. Yeah. And I do, even in the last fight with Namas, I do take the time to, so I've got a mix of two songs, which is Emily Sandé and Beyonce. So
hold on, Tash, you've got to tell us which songs.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I kind of already know, but I think we need to let the boys know.
So it's the first, like, I don't know, verse of Extraordinary People, Extraordinary Being by Emily Sandé, and then it's Who Runs the World, Girls.
For some reason, I always knew these songs, but I always wondered, because at the 2012 Olympics, sorry to jump in here, but you had Emily Sandé like kind of be on the piano. She's always been exceptional at that, and then she'll come out with, "We've got the words to change a nation." Yes. I get into the karaoke mode kind of thing. But that song was. Yeah, but that song was kind of like the main theme, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so I actually thought sometimes, when I already knew what Tasha's two songs were, Beyonce's always going to be one of hers. Alicia Keys is my kind of girl, just saying.
Yeah. The one song that I remember from the Olympics as well was, and still now, when I hear it, it reminds me of 2012, was People, What Have You Done Today to Make You Feel Proud?
Yes, that was
just playing on every single. I don't know whether they bought the rights to it or whatever, but it was just playing every single day, every highlight show, everything. It was just always on. So even when I hear that now, I laugh and smile, because it reminds me of then.
I can't lie. I thought you was going to say Emily Sandé, My Kind of Love. That was my tune from that year.
Yeah, My Kind of Love is a bit. Yeah, but Joe, what My Kind of Love is a beautiful song. Anyway, we can talk about this another time, can't we? Really? Sounds a bit deep.
I choose them songs. A little bit deep. Sorry, I choose them songs because they're my little girl's favourite songs. So when Joe said, like, we'd gone through the drills, and he was like, "You're not going to knock it out. It's going to be a 10-round fight. Make sure you do it." We're doing all the drills in the back room, sweating, got it ready to go. And just as I was about to go out, he goes, "Make sure you enjoy it." And I was thinking, is he messing? Like, he was like, "Are you messing?" And then, then I stood there on the stage, and then the little intro. I'm not going to sing, but Son, you can if you want, Sonia. But then I thought, right, I'm gonna take it all in.
I've sang enough
for this one song, and I stood there and I was like, if you look at me, I'm just looking out because everyone's, you know, the lights are down, they've got the phones out, and I thought, oh, this is how they must feel when they perform in the audience, you know, like when they're standing on the stage and everyone's filming them, and I was thinking, this is boss. I half forgot what I was there for, and then I thought, when that second song kicks in, I'm just gonna go to the ring. So then next minute, Run the World kicks in, and I was so focused, I didn't even touch anyone as I'm walking in. I just went straight to the ring, and I was like, they say, oh yeah, I'm in the zone, but I literally was just in a place where I was there, I was present, I was ready to fight.
No. So I do want to talk about the present, like you just mentioned, and women's boxing. So you talked about how there wasn't as much, but even in 2012, when you were looking at and people were, you had to get your face out. Whereas if you look at 2022 now, we've had Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano headline Madison Square Garden as well. So I do want to just quickly touch on your battles with Katie Taylor as well. I want you, as somebody who's fought her twice in the Olympics and just previously as well, what type of fighter is she? Like, for people who are watching this, we want to know, like, what type of animal is she in the ring?
I think for a very long time in amateur boxing, Katie set the standard, and we was all playing catch up. And near the end of her amateur career, we'd caught up, or people had caught up, and the same now. Like, she's always been everyone. I remember the first tournament I went to for England, and everyone's like, oh, there's this Irish girl called Katie Taylor, you'd have to watch her. And literally, even all the people who, whether you're boxing or not, when she boxed, everyone was like this. And everyone stopped and watched. And it was the same when I went to the men's Europeans. Like, one of the England lads went, oh, there's this lad called Lomachenko, you have to watch him. He's like poetry in motion. I was like, shut up. They were like, no, he is. And when I watched them, like, literally everyone in the crowd's just watching him. And that she was our Lomachenko. She set the standard, and everyone was in awe every time that she boxed. The Irish are probably some of the most patriotic and supportive fans anyway. So they don't care whether you're a man or a woman, whatever. As long as you're, you know, representing them in a good, positive way, they support you. And we'd be in the middle of China for our qualifications, in the middle of literally nowhere, and they'd say Ireland, and there'd be like a group of people that cheered, and we were like, where have you come from? We were like, oh, we was in Beijing, and we've just took a 2-hour flight because we heard she was here. And that was the difference, like, between them. So she's, when it comes to like a product, or because boxing, when you're pro, you are a product. It's the sport that people watch, isn't the business that we're involved in. So she, as a business, she is a model of her own, because I don't think there's any woman, even when she leaves, that could replicate that just right now. So yeah, I forgot the question.
just in general,
I love it.
On Katie and just what she's done for boxing as well. But Ray, I want you to go ahead. You were going to talk about Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously.
Should we do a head-to-head, Tash? I'm joking. Can you imagine getting into a head-to-head with her at this time of night as well?
I know that
6:20 in the morning. Thank you.
We've had all back and forth already. I don't think she's.
I'm just like, I'm supposed to be Auntie S, and she's supposed to be niece. But I tell you one thing, bloody hell.
I know, like, I remember seeing it in real.
I need someone to put me in my place. I definitely do get that from Natasha Jonas. I'm not even going to say I can call her Tasha. You two, no, it has to be Natasha Jonas. MBE.
It's pending, but definitely, obviously, you've got your unification fight coming up, and then there's a lot of title fights. That for me is like women's boxing right now this year has set such a precedent. Obviously, you winning your title on the Amir Khan vs. Kell Brook card. And how did that moment feel? Because
I was whispering that.
How did that moment feel?
Live.
Because, you know, there was like certain hurdles that you may have, you know, fell on before. but holding your nerve to finally get that, and I'm sure it must have felt even more better knowing the triumph that you had to make mentally. How does it feel in the moment, and how does it feel soon after you win it as well? So I guess, yeah, before the knockout, at the knockout, and after the knockout, how do you feel at those 3 stages?
Getting into the ring, I just felt focused and a task in hand. Like I said, I was just in the zone. I hate to sound cheesy, and that's really where I was. As it happened, I'm so focused on her and watching her, I didn't even see that the corner had threw the towel in. It wasn't until I could see I could see outside the ring that people were jumping.
Yeah.
And he was saying it's over, and Joe's jumped in the ring, that I turned around and looked and I thought, you better not be stopping it. And then I realized. So then I was like, wow, yeah, it stopped. And I think the biggest emotion that I felt was relief, because it was literally, that was the last chance saloon. Like they billed it as like, third time lucky, but it wasn't. It was me last chance. It was literally, I tried that at super feather, I tried that at lightweight, and now it was a super welter. So if it had failed, then there was nowhere for me to go. There was nothing. That was the end. So when it actually, I felt so made up for me as well, but I was delighted for Joe, because I knew all the hard work he'd put in with all the other camps as well. But I was made up for him. I was made up for me little girl, because she can't have the sweets that we have in the house. I have to sacrifice time with her. She has to stay in after school club so I can do my 2 sessions, and then I'm dropping her to my nan's so I can go and do other sessions and go to yoga and go to physio. She's coming the track with me for the Harper fight. We had to bubble together for the Harper fight. So it was me, Joe, and one of the other lads. I think it might have been Callum Johnson had a fight. So it was us 4 in the gym constantly with Joe and Crawler, and we couldn't bubble with anyone else. We didn't want my nan to get sick, so she was there. I was running. She was pouring the water in between spars, in between rounds. I was chasing her down the track. He'd be like, Mila, go, Mum, go, and I'd be legging it. So she was having a whale of a time, but like for the first time, she always knew that Mum boxes and Mum goes to gym, but she never knew what happened there, and she now understands what happens there and what happens when Mum goes to gym.
So I know we've got obviously a little bit of time left, and I understand obviously I do want to touch on just the Shields and Marshall's fight itself. Mm-hmm. Seeing that it's headlining a card here in the UK as well, when you look at that particular fight, 1, I guess I want to say, where do you think it goes? And 2, again, is this another monumental step for women's boxing here in the UK? Like I said, we've had it with Taylor Serrano in America. Now we're getting our UK fight here in the UK headlining an event as well. I believe it's an all-women's card as well, as far as I can recall. So again, how monumental is this full event then, outside of just the fight as well?
I think so. It's mad because we as female athletes knew how good women's boxing was. We just needed the platform and the world to see it, and we needed people to buy into that. And now we've got that. We've always had, good competitive fighters. Women's boxing, as it's least, is just as good as any other boxing. But we weren't taken seriously. There weren't the investment in us. There weren't the profile and platform to come from. And there weren't the backing of big institutions like Sky, like The Zone, like whoever. So now that we've got that, we've got to do exactly like the football has and just run with it. And now we're at a good stage where one belt just isn't enough for anybody anymore. Everybody wants them all. And in women's boxing, it's a lot easier to do that. There's not the same ego or politics that there is in the men's. So, and maybe because the purses or whatever is bigger, so there is a lot of contractual obligations, and there is still with women. But we've seen, a Baumgardner is coming to top rank to be allowed to fight Maya, and we've seen Clarissa and Sav both sign with Boxer to be able to have that fight. So they are easier to do, and when you've set a precedent, Serrano and Taylor set a precedent. Well, women's boxing doesn't sell and doesn't do this and doesn't do that. Well, now we proved that it did. Okay, so now let's go one better and see what the all-female card can do, and not just any all-female card. These are the grudge matches of grudge matches, and like obviously I won't be boxing on it, but I'll definitely be part of the commentary team for that, and it's going to be a big night. I can't see either of the two main fights being anything but drama and entertainment. So yeah, it is a big moment and a big changing point for a lot of, kind of that old way of thinking. We're always going to have them one or two, or the trolls that, there's always someone who's not happy with something. We know that, but when we get the majority on side, because we are a minority in this sport as women, so we can't make the change ourselves because we're only a small part of the sport. We need the men to join us and be on board with us and be supported by men as well.
I think I was saying to Ria as well, like earlier in one of our episodes, I said that Serrano Taylor for the first half of boxing was the moment of the year because of what it meant to the sport. But Sonia, I do have a question for you as well. How important is it you're in.
I was only just sitting here to support Natasha, actually. I haven't even had my dinner. I hope that I sacrificed. I just came from a Daily Mirror interview to you guys.
So just a quick question for yourself. I guess, how important is it to have access, funding, and more facilities open for women and girls who are now looking up to like Natasha and everyone else and seeing them and being able to now access to boxing and sport in general?
I think if you look at it as a kind of out-wide aspect, if that's possibly what you say, as a community, as a society coming from, let's not kind of put in, this is a female audience and this is a male audience. We need to collaborate and come together. So when I look at, say, for example, we've had this conversation before because I've come on, obviously, the YouTube and the podcast in the past. For me, I feel like, we can keep like just touching on some of the things that Natasha said as well. Like women's boxing is massively grown. I do actually really feel like lockdown was a massive positive impact on the women's side as a whole. The men's side was always up there. No one was talking about women's boxing. So when all the fight camps and stuff obviously came into fruition, everybody was involved in that. We were all getting excited. Oh my God, these girls can fight. And it was the Natasha Jonas fight against Terry Harper that actually did that. And I think we need to remind people of that. It seems like a long time ago. I feel like
it was 2 years today.
Even happened.
Oh, wow.
It was literally 2 years today.
Yeah. It just feels like such a long time ago. And I actually had to do like the same, obviously talked about the same things with the Daily Mirror, but it was obviously basketball kind of focused and stuff. But for me, it's like to be a part of that whole journey with not just Natasha herself, but with everyone. It's just, are you guys still there? Because it went quiet.
No,
Yeah, I heard some noise in the back. Sorry, I was just making sure it's all going.
No worries.
Sorry, I need my voice. Just saying. But just to be a part of, all of the girls' journeys and just watch them flourish and fly. And, I'm not really that active on Twitter. I might come on there and do like 5 tweets in one go. Very active on Instagram. I'm busy doing other things, but I am there in the background. So for me, I feel, Serrano and Taylor, fantastic fight, brilliant. Actually, Joe Boys, I was about to swear then, but I'm not allowed to, but it was flipping exceptional. It was exceptional. It was beautiful to see. And obviously I'm looking forward to Clarissa Shields v Sav. But ultimately, I want to see this woman here whose face is pictured next to mine, who's younger than me, and she looks a hell of a lot better than me. Thank you. I wish I had blue eyes or green eyes. I'm always bigging her up, and she knows how I feel. I know how to promote. We know that, but everyone knows as well. Andrew knows how camera shy I really am. I flipping hate it. But I know I do, I really do. But I just want her to become an undisputed champion. Like, this is great about Clarissa and Sab. Like, this has been going on since the Olympics, right, Tash?
Yeah, it's been going on since the 2012 qualifiers. when South won, and she's the only person ever to beat her. And I think, like you're saying, like we've got like the different personalities in female boxing now. Like not everyone's like the goody, you know. Let's be positive
but they're not.
all
That's
the
why I
time.
love her, because
Exactly. So we've got the outspoken one, we've got the one who talks back, we've got the one who's the good-looking one, we've got the one. I'm not saying that's me. I'm talking about Bridges, but you know, we've
stop
got
lying.
we've got the shy and you know, we've got all different types of people in boxing now, and that's what I think, the characters that tell the story. And like with you know, your pretty boy Floyd, and he's now Money Mayweather, and now you had, you know, your alleys, and you're talking, you know, your trash talkers, and we have that, and I think that there's someone that everybody can connect to. So some people, you know, we're not that kind of like country that likes the brashness sometimes. Like I've seen people slating Ben Whittaker, and one of the Leach, I think it was, in the Commonwealth, you know, he's too arrogant, and arrogant is only arrogant if you can't back it up. And people say Clarissa's arrogant. Well, she backs it up. Everything that she says so far, she's done. So you can't say that she's arrogant, because arrogance in its definition is like a thing that you can't do, is not, you know, sustainable to you. But these people are doing it, so it's not arrogant.
I call it supreme confidence.
Yeah, it is exactly that. And Ali was telling people he was the greatest before he ever was. So, you know, it's that kind of, but that's the, and we've got them rivalries, like the Baumgartner Mayers, like the Clarissa and Sav. We've got them. We could have a domestic with me and Hannah. You know, that we need them. That it's them kind of stories that sell it to people, and people want a story. They want the rivalry. They want the, you know, the clash, the all British clash. They want something, and they want different personalities. And I think now we're at that stage where we've got that, and it's only going to get better when, you know, the 2016 lot turned over, then the, you know, 2020 lot turned over, and then there'll be the 2024 lot that'll turn over, and we'll keep adding to the game, and it'll only keep getting better. But one of the best things that I've seen was, for a very long time, I was the only girl in the Rotunda for a good maybe 8 years, and now there's school girls, there's girls that aren't even old enough to come to the club, but still want to come. So they're dying to get to the 8, 9, 10s to even be allowed to come. And that's the most important thing, because any sport has to build from the ground up, and that's what, you know, like, I'm not saying that we did, but that's what 2012 did. When you seen it, people were saying, you know, we had people cross over from, like Chantal, from kickboxing and Thai boxing and MMA. They're like, well, if this is an Olympic sport and I can be amateur and do it, I'm going to do that instead. And we had that. So now we've got this, you know, we've got this machine. Let's keep the momentum moving positively and going forward, because that it's only going to get better. Like,
you mentioned Hannah Rankin. So obviously you're fighting Patricia for the WBC belt. Obviously you don't want to look ahead of her, but with a victory over Patricia, would you like to then face Hannah Rankin for another big unification bout domestically? Because I think with you having 2 titles in your weight class and Hannah Rankin having the other, that could be broadcast as a major event, and you never know, you could be coming back to Liverpool to headline. So you got. I'm speaking into existence. So
yeah,
Natasha Jonas, Hannah Rankin, Arena.
We tried to get it for this fight, if I'm honest, and for whatever reason, it didn't come into fruition. So, like, I'm satisfied that Ben did all he could to try and get it. So she didn't take it for whatever reason. That's on air. But I think right now I'm just taking the opportunities where they come. Yeah. Because like the whole reason that I went to 154 was that, you know, Chantal was in a tournament. No one kind of really knows what McCaskill's doing, but McCaskill's, like, you know, floating here, there, and everywhere. Yeah. And Katie was in like a 2-fight deal with Serrano, and there was no secret that I was never going to make super feather again. So there wasn't very much options there for me if I wanted to challenge for the belt. But then obviously the 154 came open. And then kind of the same is happening. Katie fight's not there. McCaskill, I still don't really know what she's doing, but it's not there. Chantel's like either wants McCaskill or she's trying to still get Reese. So that fight's not there. So I think Berghult was supposed to fight Brockhouse, but that was cancelled for the 30th of August. So I'm just taking the opportunities that are there and the doors that are open, because the other doors are at the minute shut. But I would like to go back down. I would like, but I'm just taking. I'm not looking past anything. I just need to do what I need to do on the third. But then, I don't think there's no secret in saying that this is not my preferred weight. I would like to go back down, and I would like to challenge for belts at other weights. So, but if the opportunity comes where you can fight Rankin, or another opportunity for the care or whoever it was, it's something you'd have to think about and weigh up your options.
And this is, sorry to interrupt, but I feel like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
You're going to ask another question, aren't you? Sorry, but just touching on what Natasha said, is that you have to, in women's boxing predominantly, and I also feel that people bring this up hoo-ha, if the women want to be equal to the men, stop calling it women's boxing. We'll stop calling it women's boxing when we see a significant change in terms of payment.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
And none of those girls are shying away from like fighting 3 rounds or
3 minutes. Yeah.
Come on, 3 minutes. I always get this confused. I was speaking to someone about it the other day. So, it's not the fact that none of them are afraid to obviously step up to the plate. But my concern is, to be completely honest with you, is that people need to stop putting an emphasis on the comparisons between male and female boxing, because it is a concern, because it's not going to change if that conversation is still being said. So for me, just obviously touching on what Natasha said there, and there's also a lot of conversations in terms of, they get a world title fight so easily. There is no domestic route. Natasha, pick this up on from me, please. Add to it, because there's not a massive domestic route here. It's not the same as the males. Like, no one's made these rules up. So we need to kind of explain that properly to people. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think obviously it is a growing and developing sport, especially in this country. So, there isn't the same pool, and there's a big jump between fighting the, kind of like, what am I trying to say? Like the journey women. There's a big jump between journey women and then world level. There's no in between, because there's very few that are in between, because the pool is so shallow to choose from. But like I said, when the 2016 and 2020 and 2024 turn over, that will be different, and there will be that. But we are a growing and developing sport, so we do need time to develop in that sense.
Yeah, that's to start from somewhere. So I guess this is just the building blocks, and people are going to be thanking you in the future for doing these type of title fights, getting your name out there, and then, like I said, people will be looking back and we'll be doing interviews, and they'll be saying it was Natasha Jonas fight here and there that they looked on, and they built on it. So all the best with it.
Just want to deviate, I know we've taken up much of your time already, just for another 5 minutes. So obviously with the women's Euros, England brought it home, football did come home. I do want to talk about it with yourselves and your sister Nikita Paris as well. How was that as a moment for yourselves, your family as a whole, knowing that she was part of that team that brought football home, as they say? Yeah,
I think you obviously know what their dreams and hopes and, their ambition is to be and do. And when your family, you see the dark side. Like, she sees me crying for 2 days after I lost to Katie Taylor in the Olympics. She sees me, upset when I lost to Obanov and
Tash, I would have given you a massive hug for that.
Yeah,
please.
but we see the dark side of the sport because we're behind them. So then when you get to live the good side, the ups, it's brilliant. And when you have no control over it, my boxing, it's all about me. I can control it. Like, and she's probably nervous watching me, but when you've got no control over what she's doing, like the emotions that I felt, especially in the Germany game, I just wasn't ready for. Like, I was like, I went from high to low to high to low to crying to jumping everywhere to crying tears of sadness to crying tears of joy. It was just, I just wasn't ready for it. But then, you know, at the end, and you'd seen it at the end and enjoying it with the team and how far it's come and the standard of play and just going through all the games and having the whole country behind them, supporting them. And it wasn't for that tournament. It was just like Sonia was saying before. It was just football. No one questions whether the women's here. What it was just football. And I think the great thing that they did was sometimes with the men, because of the I don't know whether it's the money in it or whatever, that it's so serious. But the games, I as going in as a fan, not as even as a family member, it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
And there was like every game was like, you know, they had the little cams, they had the little quizzes going on, and you know, the interview. It was just so much fun. And I think sometimes we forget that in sport, that it should be fun. And as a fan, you should go there and be entertained and enjoy yourself. And you do want to win, and luckily we did win all the games, but like it was just enjoyable. Like, and then obviously to have your little sister and my little girl, you know, when you say today, like, or anyone in our family who's the best footy player, who's the best boxer, they say she says two girls. So that's like there's no like, you know what I mean? There's no, she can look up to two strong, you know, women in male dominated sports doing the best that they can and achieving great things, and that's very important for, like I say, visibility is key for anything, and that's not, if you believe in yourself and you work hard. You know, two young girls from Toxteth I've done two amazing things in different sports, and I'm so keen to get into schools and portray that message, because that wasn't always the message that I was given when I was younger. And that wasn't the stereotypes of where we came from, but what we could be. People always want to put barriers up to who you can be and what you can do. And both of us have broken down, and two girls from the same area have done great things, like I said. So it's important to get that message out, not just the girls, but to everyone. You can be successful if you want to be.
I was going to say, like, from us, we obviously echo the entire sentiment as well. Now, before we wrap up, there is just a quick fire round that you want to do.
Go on.
Just a
Here we
first.
go.
I normally
Here we go.
down.
Here we go.
That comes to
So
you.
let's go.
I'm quite alive at this
KFC
time.
or
I do
Nando's,
have to get
Nando's.
up at 6 o'clock.
Oh, you got it.
morning, so yeah. Yes.
Right. Since you've answered that, what's your spice at Nando's?
So
And your order.
it's between medium and wild. Is it that I always have that wild sauce on? Is that
Wild for me? Wild for me.
I used to go hot, and I went extra hot one time, and it was just too much. So now I either go. I don't really go hot anymore. I just go medium, and then I put the wild sauce on as well.
And what's the order?
Whatever the new thing is, because I like to try something different. But if not, then it's butterfly chicken.
No,
medium butterfly chicken.
Yeah,
I'm hungry. I'm feeling hungry.
What?
Something up north.
No one's doing the 4 fires. No, I'm by myself in that boat.
Why? What's yours?
4 fires. I say
that's a bit too much. That's too much. It's too much for me. Yeah, sorry. And I'm Asian. I'm rice, but that's way too much. Honestly.
What were you, Sonia? KFC or Nando's?
You know what? I'm gonna go KFC. Sorry.
Felt
like being a little bit different. I feel like every boxer you talk to, I've worked in boxing for a long time. Five Guys, Nando's. Let me just have all of this. Me, KFC. Chicken bucket, dumb.
Fair enough.
And a Coca-Cola as well. Thank you. Oh no, I think I do Pepsi. Yeah. Just
I'm one of them annoying people that goes to Nando's though and like orders all the good stuff, but I genuinely do like it. So I order like the super greens, is it? And like the halloumi sticks and
the works
and the sweet potato mash and all that. I'm that person, but I genuinely do like that stuff. So and broccoli, corn, sweet corn.
Broccoli, spinach is a big thing in the Asian community. We like our sag. So when you go into an Indian restaurant, you say sag paneer. It's all broccoli and spinach mixed up in one. It's very good for you.
I'm going to take note of that for
sure. Netflix or Amazon Prime?
Netflix.
Okay.
Me? Are you going to ask me? Oh, do I have to? Oh, no, I don't have to answer this. Oh, thank you.
No,
I don't know. I'm just sitting here quietly, so I don't know. Do I answer this? Oh, absolutely Netflix. Yeah, bloody hell. That's a very silly question, boys.
No, go on, Ray. Get us one of your quick fires in.
I wanted to ask Natasha. So you mentioned Beyonce and Emily Sandé before. Are there certain tracks in the dressing room that you play to yourself just before you go out, other than those two, or whilst you're warming up? What are the tracks that's like people may not know that you're listening to? Are you listening to something aggressive to get you pumped? Or are you listening to something mellow just to get you chilled out?
So if anyone listened to any of my playlists, they'd probably think I had some sort of mental disorder, because it's so high and low. As in, like, 1 minute it could be a ballad, a Whitney Houston ballad, and then the next minute it'll be like I don't know, like a dance tune, or then it'll go to like it'll go to like ragga music, and then it'll go to like hip hop. I am so everywhere with music, but or then it could be like Kings of Leon. So I am just everywhere with music, but I like most music, to be fair. So I don't have it. I just put it on.
Okay, nice.
Eat out or takeaway?
Ooh, eat out.
Sonia?
Definitely eat out. I like to even listen. I can talk for England, so please take me into a restaurant. I don't need alcohol to like even talk to anyone. Please, come on. I love eating out. Come on, why would you want to sit with your bucket of KFC? Come on.
You just prefer it. You just want to sit in. You
just thought I'd elaborate and make the story a little bit more colourful. But yes, eat out. Thank you. A nice little ruby with a maybe whatever.
This might be one because PlayStation or Xbox or neither.
Ooh, I'll let Tasha
I've
go
got
with
PlayStation.
That. Okay.
Only because I think that was the last one I had. That was the last. And I'm talking like the PlayStation 1. I'm not talking any of the new ones. I'm literally talking the Hunt with So that was the last one I had. So I'll say PlayStation. And I used to. I was taught. I only put this on social media the other day about Abe's Odyssey.
Oh yeah.
So it was. I think the thing was what was the worst game, and I used to love Abe's Odyssey. I used to literally stay up for hours trying to like.
If I remember correctly, that it's like an alien, isn't it?
Yeah. Hello, follow me. Okay.
Guys, can you not put like Sega Mega Drive or anything in that? Because I come from old school.
Sorry.
Remember on the the Sega, because I never had the Segas, but I let my cousins one.
And he had the Nintendo or something. Oh my God, that's going back.
The Daily Thompson Decathlon, and I swear to God, I used to get pure blisters on my fingers where you used to have to press the button like that. You'd be like, and then you'd have to jump to do the triple jump. It was the hardest thing ever. But like the only way you could do it is like, you know, the way you hold your games console, I think like that. You just have to turn it on its side and press the button like that. It was the hardest thing ever.
I used to be quite vigorous, but like Sonic the Hedgehog, mate, honestly, can always, that's why it's a bit like, come on, man, like you're just going with like the new school generation, just to fit in with your generation.
Hello, Pokemon. Like
Mario.
Game Boy
Mario Kart, Nintendo, yes. Nintendo.
Like games were simple. All you had to do was get from like that side of the screen to that side of the screen. That was all you had to do. Now you go on quests and like, which is GTA or something I was playing. I was like, how do you finish? Like Mortal Kombat, you just kill the person and then you was done. You was on to the next one and you'd move on. Street Fighter, that's what I mean. You'd move on. But now games have got like, they're like never ending. There's like quests and you go into different cities and you go into, and I'm just like, how do you finish? Like, where's the end to the game? Are you supposed to finish? Like, just get from one side of the screen to the other, like you used to do.
It just carries on. But one final question.
Yeah, but this is what I'm going to say as well. Sorry, can I just add in spinning bird kick representing Chung-Li from yes. We need to add some female empowerment here whilst you've got one of the most inspirational women here on your show. Oh, sorry, I'm second down there, but you know, I'm just here observing. But yeah, spinning bird kick, Hadouken. Listen, we could sit here all day, couldn't we? Really?
I'm more of a Tekken guy than Street Fighter personally, but
Shinobi.
Oh, it's terrible. I don't. Unless the conversation ends here. Ends.
Favorite cheat meal.
My favourite meal anyway is chili con carne. I love it. I love my own made one as well, which is weird. Most people don't like their own food, but I like mine.
I like mine too, actually, to be honest with you.
Why not?
Do I need to answer this? I don't really, do I?
No,
that's fine.
No.
Let's say the cheat meal.
Favorite cheat meal.
Oh, my favourite cheat meal?
Yeah.
Shepherd's pie. With gravy and loads of baked beans. Like I put baked beans in my shepherd's pie with the gravy and the mash. I bloody love gravy.
It already is gravy and mash.
Yeah, but Tasha, I have to add more. You know this about me. I always have to go the extra mile.
It's just it already is gravy, mash and mint, so why would you add more gravy mash?
Oh, no, it has to be. I'm like all in or all out, and it has to be loads more. Like fair honestly, enough. No, it has to be like a whole tub, and maybe just like a half tub extra.
Oh, speaking of tubs, I love ice cream as well. If I could get
yes.
a Ben and Jerry's, or who's the other one?
Anyone fancy doing an Uber? One second. Just contributing to my social life here and doing an Uber like delivery, maybe just of these whole drinks. Yeah, I'm quite poor right now. I'm starving.
I'm more of a lemon sorbet guy, so if my friends know me, I'm a sorbet person.
A lemon cheesecake for me, but also when it comes to ice cream, it's got to be cookies and cream. You know what I mean? 112, 112 star.
Anybody.
Yes.
So, Ray, have you got any more quick fire questions? Or
no, I just want to say thank you both for your time. Honestly, it's been such a good night of questions.
I think you should thank Tasha. She's in fighting camp now, so I'm just here to be nosy and be part of the crew.
I understand the rigors of training camp for fighters. So honestly, I appreciate both of you's time for like taking out of the evening as well. So honestly,
thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
Promoting women's boxing positively. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for giving us the voice and the platform. I appreciate it. Thank you.
This woman is going to become undisputed. Just remember that.
Unified champion pending.
Forget about unified champion pending. You guys are thinking too small. This woman will retire as an undisputed champion. I'm very sure of that. But anyway, I've got to go because I really need to go to sleep. I've got to get up soon.
See you later.
No.
Thank you.
Bye.